Hey, let's check out the brooder house again. Just extended it. Came up a bit higher there on the edges. They can jump that if they want to, but it's up higher now. Opened up the sides all the way to the end of the greenhouse. No more sides, and so they've got probably 3 times the room they had, and they need it because they're getting big, as you can see. Yeah, still got some stuff growing here, and it's October. Let's see what happens. There you go. Took out the old litter and put in some clean Ranch Pro animal bedding. Pretty good stuff. I like that better than the stuff I used the last time, which is this no name brand here. It's not as good for the money, but yeah, this is working out pretty good. I think I'll be separating them pretty soon, the broilers from the layers. I don't mind brooding them together, but at some point they'll have to be separated because the broilers are going to get so much bigger. Let's go take a look inside. Who's in here? It's going to be a riot in here, guys. Oh, look at that. Well, I think maybe tomorrow I'm going to add another light. And I'm just going to hang it off of the edge. Over there somewhere, probably. That way they got some heat on the outside because they ain't got enough room inside. But they're plenty warm. So I think I'll do that tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow's little project. Give them an outside light and an inside. If it gets too cold, they can go inside. If it, for about another week, then they won't fit in there. But by then they'll start feathering out. They won't need this extra warm. They don't have to be that warm. So, and it's October. We're expecting a warm few days next week, or this week, and don't know next week if it's going to cool off. Who knows? But we can keep it warm in here. Ain't going to be no problem. It's a small enough space. 10 by 20. It's actually not a full 10 foot, I don't think. It's more like 8.5 by 20. But I'm really happy with it, Plenty of room here for everything. Got my beer, got my feed bins here up on a pallet up off the ground. And this would work. I mean, I could actually raise all the broilers and finish them all right in here if I wanted to, and then just bring them some freshly grown grass, and we'll show you that too. I'm going to start that project here real soon, where we'll be growing some wheat and barley in the house, and then feeding it to the chicks as they get older. Right now they're just on chick grower rations, little crumbles, and that'll get a good start on them. And then we'll start throwing them some bugs, maybe some mealyworms and the grass, and that'll get them started on eating grass and whatnot. Because if you raise them in the wintertime and you can't get them out on the pasture, you got to get them grass. That's how you maintain your quality. If you grow some good wheatgrass, barley grass, and feed it to them, they'll love it. They'll eat it, Plus they get the roots and everything too, which gives them all kind of more nutrients. And we talked about that earlier, how you get the macronutrients into your food that you eat. The only way to do it is to put it in the food that of the animals that you're planning on eating, or the eggs if you plan on eating, whatever, you know. The video we did earlier about the orange eggs, you know, I mentioned that the orange color of the egg is due to the beta-carotene, and the other nutrients, macronutrients you get from them is due to their foraging through the fields and the pasture and eating grass and forbs and bugs and such. And, you know, I like to use eggs because the proof is in the pudding. You can see it. It's obvious. But the same thing goes with the meat that you eat. You know, if your chickens are out eating grass and bugs, you're going to get that nutrients right back. But you don't get if I just raised them in here and gave them, you know, chicken food their whole life. I'll show you. I just gave them that stuff. They look like little rocks. Sure, they have all the nutrients and everything and the protein and whatnot to grow them to be big birds, but that doesn't mean that they got everything that nature gives them. Grass and leaves and forbs and bugs and everything. Grubs, worms, maggots. I know it sounds nasty, but that's what they eat. And they've been doing it for thousands of years. And that's what we've been eating all that time. So when you take it out of the food chain, so there's the food chain right there. The grass, the forbs, the leaves, the bugs, the worms, the maggots, the grubs. All the stuff that chickens like to eat. When you take that out of the food chain, you start having problems eventually. And I think that's some of the stuff we're seeing today. Our food chain's been disrupted with factory farming. And I'm not necessarily against people who factory farm. They, you know, this is something we started not that long ago. You know, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And it didn't start off like it is today. It started off slowly and kind of like, you know, evolved into what we have today. And I think, you know, it's time to start moving the other direction. Not that we need to just shut down all factory farms, but we do need to start doing more of this. This gets more people out farming. This gets more people out doing things that they might like doing. And providing us something that people really want and need in their diet. And I'll tell you what, you're probably going to have a lot less health problems if you eat healthy food. You eat food that is, you know, not missing that chain, you know, that link in the chain that you need to have. Every chain is only as strong as its weakest link. You know, we have a DNA chain. And our DNA chain, if you have a weak link in your DNA chain, you know what kind of problems that could mean. And it happens. And if you have a weak link in the food that you eat, let's face it, it's easy to do, you know, let's eat junk food, you know, no problem. But if you take the time to raise animals in the way that we've been eating them for thousands of years, then you can get those nutrients back in to you and your family's lives, especially young growing children. You know, imagine not getting any of those nutrients that a lot of us older people grew up with. We don't even know. Well, we do because we see it. You know, look at the rate here in America with all of the asthma and the problems that we're having now, diabetes and everything else. It wasn't so big back in the day, and it was because people drank whole milk from cows that wasn't pasteurized. And I'm not talking about in big cities where cattle were grown or raised and milked and down in the bottom of basements of buildings. But no, I'm talking about out in the field. They started pasteurizing milk because they broke the link in the chain. They brought the cows indoors and started feeding them brewer's yeast and leaving them in the dark and wallowing in their own crap. and people got sick because the milk was bad. I mean, what'd you expect? So now we have to pasteurize our milk, and as a result, now we have people who are not getting the nutrients that we've been getting for thousands of years drinking milk. Cows are out in the fields, they're eating grass, they're eating weeds, they're eating everything out there that causes us to have allergic reactions. And if we get them from the cow, well, then we've got an immunity to it, and we don't have so much problems like that. And it's the same thing with the chickens and eggs and your pork. And all these things, we're doing them the wrong way now. And, we're starting to figure it out. We didn't know that 50 years ago, but we know it now. So what do? Do we keep doing the same thing, or do we start making a change in the right direction? I say we make a change in the right direction. Get your chickens out in the field, eating grass. Do it. Here's some chickens. I'm not in the field right now because it's late, coming up to roost. But they go out here in the grass. All out here. Under a tree. Up under here. See how it's all cleaned out? Those are chickens. There's some pigs down there too, but they go out there and eat grass. And if you go back and look at my video where I'm cooking an egg, and you see the orange chicken, you'll get it. Then you'll understand why you need it. Go to your farmer's market. Find a farmer. Talk to him. Get to know him. And find out what he's doing. That's your best bet. Don't go to the grocery store and buy something just because it says it's organic or pasture raised. It doesn't mean that it is. It just means that it met certain standards that are, regulated to make it legal for them to call it organic or pasture raised. I guess that's better than nothing, but I think we'd be better off to get to know your farmer. And I don't care who it is, all over the country there's farmers markets that do this. So find out. It might cost a little bit more, but it's not going to cost more than what you buy at the grocery store. I guarantee you. Man, you can get eggs real cheap at the grocery store, sure. But if you buy organic, pasture-raised eggs, you're going to pay about $5. And I don't sell mine for that. I sell mine for about $3.50. Sometimes $4. It depends, on the year and the market and a lot of things. But I try to sell them as cheap as I can. Of course, I got to make a profit, but we'll find out here come summertime when I really get into the swing of this. So, and then, I already have an idea of what I'm going to sell everything for when because I know what it's going to cost me to do it. But it's something to think about, when you're at the grocery store and you're looking at the food that you're buying. Kind of think about where it came from. I know you have busy lives, we all do, and to buy food that take the time to go somewhere to buy food, it's not the usual place. It's hard to get out of that habit. But give it a try. You might find a farmer that's selling eggs and you crack it open and they're not the right color, and you go like, talk to them before you buy them. Are they on the pasture? Are they eating grass? Do you have them on a lot of feed all the time? Look into it for yourself, Go on YouTube and Google it and check it out and find out just what you want to feed your family. And think about what I said about having that chain, the weakest link in your food chain to the food that you're eating. When you start taking links out, in our food chain now, so many links are taken out of the chain. The chain it's really, really, it's like no longer a good strong chain anymore. It's really weak. There's missing links in the chain of food that we're eating now. So really, think about it. It's not going to happen overnight. But try to take a look and see what you can find, and then what you can afford to do. Really, that's what it comes down to. You can only do what you can afford to. And I wish you look at that, it's hard to do. But hopefully in the next, several years, when this, the new farming craze or whatever, takes hold, and I think it will, and there'll be more and more people farming. A lot of guys and gals coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan. They don't want to jump into this, meat market world, corporate meat market world. That's what it is. It's unbelievable what they put on people's shoulders. I left it after 30 years. I won't go back. The longer I've been gone, it's only been 6 months, but I can see it. I see more and more of what we have done to ourselves as a society is putting so much pressure on people to accomplish so much. And you don't even think you're doing it until it's all over and you're like, my God, how much have I done? And it's nothing but work. So you know what, if you're a young man or woman or an older guy and a gal like me, think about it, Think about maybe looking into the farming thing. It's a possibility. You could probably do it. Doesn't take a lot. It's not hard. It's not as hard as people say it is. Yeah, it's work and you sweat and all that, but there's nothing wrong with that. And it's really rewarding and fun too, a lot of times. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. It's already too long. I'm not one of those guys. I talk too much. So anyway, I'm going to let you go. Once again, I gave up too much information at one time. My poor kids, they get it like that all the time. Take care, guys. I'll come back and we'll have another video soon. This is the Okie Farmer. Farmer Dave signing out.